Hey everybody, and welcome to the next commercial breakdown. Now this one's going to be on a spot that I've been demoing for the last two user groups, one in Toronto and one in New York, and this is on a spot I worked on for Art Jail in New York. And yeah, I'm going to show you the transitions that I worked on for this and how they were done. So as you can see, whips were sent, and obviously there was stuff being done and cleanup being done. But this first transition was coming from here through the oven and then out. So let's jump in and have a look how this was done. Now, as you know, with motion control, there's always a lot of sets of challenges. You can see this was one pass we used, which I ended up using for the highlights to kind of kiss that back in over the rack and the grill. We jump on through and we see I had to add, because of where this guy started, if I press play, see it didn't start exactly where we wanted it, and it started, somewhere around here. I'm just gonna put that to frames. So it needed a, like all motion control stuff, it needed a little help. So again, the back clip that we used was this, and that was, a different part of the set and served its purpose. For this, just to visualize, what I did do was, I knew that we were getting roto for this, but just for preview's sake, I just used the multiply trick for the mat, and it worked pretty well just to kind of quickly visualize what was happening. And again, if we just jump through, you see this was the mat that we just filled that back in. So again, it was all about just quickly prevising that. Now the next part that happened, if I open this guy's batch effects, we go back to the background. You see the other issue is obviously the lack of motion and then motion, but the obvious camera move that existed there. So if we just got to the next layer, you see we got rid of the camera and recreated that. So let's jump in and have a look at how we did that. So the first thing is this one was our in-camera move after. So it was just something we stole from a previous take. So if I just, again, press play, you see it was kind of mimicking what was happening in the actual camera move, which I was happy with. And then the other thing that we did was I ended up freezing it just because I just wanted total control over where this guy happened. And if we go to the 2D transform, you see we cheated and replicated what was in the original camera move. Now this, combined with the background and this other vent guy, was, if we just look at the schematic, you see it was actually just kind of massaged in and keyframed in, but also with a secondary move. So not just masks or mats for the actual camera move, but there was also moves done that were contrary to the outside move, which actually helped to just kind of smuts everything in. So this last bit was just the grain pass, which worked well, and this was just some letterboxing just to see what I'd get away with while I was working. So we'll just jump out of that one. So that's one of the transitions. Let's have a look at the next one. So I'm just gonna control swipe, and I'm gonna go to the dishwasher one. And this is another transition that I worked on. And if we go to, I'll just open up the archive. But you can see, so this one was a transition from this. If we go to the cutting copy, you can see it pulled back, it revealed the dishwasher, it pulled up the hand, closed, and then we were outside. So you can see there's an obvious shift of, especially with what's going on here, with things to blend in, which is always part of the fun with motion control. So let's jump in and have a look at how this guy was achieved. So the first thing is we scrub through, you see this was one pass we could use more just for the motion because we didn't have the hand closing it, which we needed. But we had the motion, which we could always use in track. So if you go to this guy, this is another layer. So this was, again, static, but then we had the move. So we had to, again, reintroduce that. And you see this guy, if we pull back, this is where the camera move happened and the hand move that we used, and it ended up working. But again, it's about stitching those two layers. So just literally using some old-fashioned G masks, and I think it was just a G mask tracer. We just scrubbed through. You can see I just took the motion from the clip 1 and just applied that to clip 2. Now, right now, what you're seeing is a very, very rough and dirty mat. These were rotoed out of house, so again, I wasn't paying attention to that. It was more just about reintroducing that motion so it wasn't jarring. If we go further on through and we just look at this too, You see these guys have some extra light, and that's to help with the transition, because when we go to the actual transition, which happens here, if we just look, and you see we're getting all this natural light. If we just go further in, we're getting all this natural light that comes up as this guy comes up, and it made sense to kind of reintroduce that a little bit into the background and to the foreground, just to kind of kiss in the edges. So you see, really easily what was done is, what I've shown on my blog before, and what I'm sure most of you guys know, but it was just simple shapes for morphing. So again, there was a shape here, here, just key areas that you'd kind of notice. And if I just scrub through, you can see we get away with a lot of the distortion that happened, especially with this part here. This was, besides these guys here, this part here was very much a tell. And if you scrub through, and I'm just going to turn off icons, and we just scrub through, you see we get away with a lot just through that transition, and that's the beauty of the distort node, and that really helped. So the last thing that was done for this was these were all converted to photogamma map. So if I just go to photogamma, this guy here, and then the blurs were done using this, and this is for both front and matte. And you see we just get a different result. I'm sure a lot of you know that you do get different results using the your blurs in linear space as opposed to just video space, and that's all that was done here. It was just trying to compensate and match for the amount of extra light kick we were getting, but it wasn't present in the final output, just because it had to get rebuilt. So again, we just then added a LUT, went back to video space, and that guy took care of that transition. Now the last one was for a little bit more complicated transition, and the other thing to remember is, there'll be a full list of credits and finished version of this spot that you can check out. Because again, it's a big team of a lot of talented people that worked on this, and I was just a cog in the wheel for this, and very happy to be a part of this job. So this one ended up being, if we go back to the edit, you see what happened was, for whatever reason, they decided to add in a 360 rotation on the Z. And that's all well and good, but not when you don't shoot it like that. So there was reintroducing the actual cylinder on each side as it spun through 3D. So again, this looks more complicated than it really is. And if we just jump out here, you see again this guy's missing the source, and I'll just quickly read my little README, and it's Media 2. I just need to reapply. So Media 2, I'm going to select it and just press apply, and you see there it is. And if I just press Alt and drag around, you see I just ended up putting a 3D shape in. It was literally a circle, a cylinder, just because what we wanted to introduce was, when we went through that cylinder, we wanted to reintroduce some of that camera move, and that helped out a lot. Now if I just turn this off, so this was our rotation keyframes, you see all it was reintroducing what was already there for that camera move. And bar a little bit of a tweaking on the final person that touched this, I think it did a pretty good job. The other thing to note is, for this we used motion vectors outside of action, Stingray motion blur, which really can speed up your comps, and did a great job for this particular spot. So that's going to be it for this commercial breakdown in Flame. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for more.